It was an abysmal earnings call, Norah. I don't know if you listened to it, but both the CEO and the CFO really did a poor job, I believe, in communicating. I mean, the results were fine in the rearview mirror, and the guidance was okay. It was good for EBITDA, very conservative guidance. I mean, that's their usual modus operandi, but it just no vision. And I guess probably the most offensive thing is, I mean, listen, this in the last 3 weeks, there's been a retail fervor around this company. Okay, I mean, this stock was 51 cents on June 21st, and I don't know, a couple of Tuesdays ago the thing traded 2 billion shares and it just about touched $5. So basically 10x in 3 weeks. And and then it got halted for there was some mysterious NASDAQ volatility halt for 13 minutes. And then after it reopened, the stock pulled back a bit. But basically, this renewed retail interest, something that a company like Palantir fully embraces, allows this company that has gone down from like 39 bucks all time high to 51 cents a few weeks ago to cancel their 50 to 1 reverse stock split because the stock traded above a buck for more than 10 days. So they announced that last Friday. And then Carrie gives an interview to Bloomberg magazine, not in person, to a magazine in print. And basically, her comment was when asked about, what do you think about all this retail love, Carrie, for your company? Her response was, I didn't have that on my bingo card for 2025. And now the important thing is that we have to harvest this retail interest into, customer business. And, immediately on, among the Twitter followers that I have who are also open shareholders, the response was like, what are we, organ donors? Harvest. And we haven't heard a word since Harvest. She didn't do any media yesterday. I don't know any CEO of any major technology company that doesn't the next day go out on the huskings and do any media interview they can to kind of defend what they're doing. She's been silent. The board's been silent. She has to go.
We're talking with Eric Jackson, founder and president of the Toronto-based hedge fund EMJ Capital, who, as you know, as you are listeners to this show and watchers, that he has in the past encouraged folks to buy this company. I also do want to mention a headline crossing. President Trump expected to make an announcement on the economy. This is coming from the White House, so there's a lot happening on this Thursday. So, Eric, I mean, is it just that? Or do you feel like you missed something in her running of this company earlier that you maybe should have, I don't know, picked up on? Is it really just her failure to recognize the retail investor?
No, it's like Carol. I put it this way. She's I don't think she was like they were in a tough spot. They prior CEO had really kind of made some questionable kind of purchases of homes in at the highs right before interest rates got hiked. And the company was floundering, and they looked around and they sort of said, "Here's the CFO. Let's bump her up to CEO." And she has cleaned up a lot of mess. That is true. So the problem is that this company now is sort of poised to be this Carvana platform company for real estate moving forward. And what does that mean to be a platform company? It means they got to go into a bunch of additional businesses around the core iBuying business. And that's something that Carrie has stepped on the gas a little bit in terms of new product initiatives, but they have to do more. And then the big question is, though, or the big wild card that could really jolt the stock is basically taking all their data from over 10 years that they have on the U.S. real estate market and turn that into $1 billion revenue business in a few years from now, which they probably can't do alone. They need to do it with a partner like a Palantir or an OpenAI. By the way, where a lot of good machine learning Opendoor people have migrated to and are now working OpenAI, or they have to partner with a Grok. And I don't think Carrie, as a finance person, really understands AI, understands tech. So my critique, Carol, is, hey, she was fine for the last 2.5 years, great, but to really 100x this company, to really make the most of the opportunity in front of them, you can't have John Scully running this company. It's got to be more of a Steve Jobs product person, tech person, who really can kind of see the vision, like Ernie Garcia did at Carvana, by the way. And hey, it would be nice if the CEO and the board and management actually bought some stock in this company down here at the lows, something again that Carvana's management team and board did, and Opendoor has shown no proclivity to so far.
Eric, you've previously floated the idea with me and also on this show about an activist intervention here. What would make you say enough is enough and that's needed to happen?
Well, I've kind of gone activist, Norah. So that's what I've been doing for the last 24 hours, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, I've said they got to bring Keith Raboy back on the board. Keith has been a very vocal critic of Carrie for a number of years. I didn't actually realize how much of a critic Keith was until after I had sort of studied the company, built a position, announced the position. And so that certainly gave me pause because Keith's, I think he's the brightest guy in tech. So he's been a critic, but will there be other people that show up? There should be. I mean, this thing is a $1.7 billion market cap company. If I was running some big multi-billion dollar hedge fund and, around where you guys are hanging out in Midtown, let's buy a 10% position. Let's do a little work. Eric's already done the drafting here. We just got to show up. And this thing in 3 years from now could be like a $17 billion position for our company. $17 billion for any hedge fund. Those guys know how to do math on like 20% performance fees. So I don't see why they wouldn't.
All right. It would be quite a trip considering it's about a $1.3 billion, as you said, market cap. I am curious too, though, Eric, did you sell any shares at all? Or where's your position on this one right now?
Not lately. I mean, I think I forget if I was talking to you before. I mean, there was one guy who I ran an SMA for that I had to sell his position for, because he got all nervous when he thought this was a meme stock and stuff like that. But no, I haven't sold the position. So there was a guy on Wall Street Bets who famously, wrote "This is a 100x opportunity," who had a new post last night talking about how he thought the earnings were good. He thinks the company's headed in the right direction. He sold some shares, but I guess I wasn't smart enough.